High in the quiet shadow of the mountains, where the wind spoke more often than people did, lived a small family in a worn but loving home. The house stood alone, surrounded by rocky paths, wild grass, and a sky that stretched endlessly above them. It was a place far from the noise of cities, far from comfort, and sometimes it felt far from hope. The family had 7 members, a father, a mother, and their 5 children, 4 daughters and 1 young son. The father was a hard-working man. Every morning before sunrise, he would leave the house with tired eyes but determined steps, walking long distances to find work. Some days he earned enough to bring home flour and vegetables. Other days he returned with empty hands, but still managed a soft smile for his children. The mother was the heart of the home. She cooked, cleaned, mended clothes, and somehow turned very little into just enough. Her hands were rough, but her voice was always gentle. She carried the weight of the family silently, like the mountains themselves, strong, unshaken. The eldest daughter, Eva, was 25. She had grown into responsibility too early. Her dreams had quietly faded over the years, replaced by duties and worries. She helped her mother, took care of her siblings, and rarely thought about herself. Still, deep inside, there was a restlessness she could not ignore. The second daughter, Lily, 19, was different. She often looked toward the distant horizon, imagining a life beyond the mountains. She wanted more freedom, more opportunities, more joy. But every day felt the same, and that made her unhappy. The third daughter, Rose, 17, had a calm nature. She accepted their life as it was and tried to find happiness in small things, a sunset, a shared laugh, or a warm meal. The fourth daughter, Grace, 13, was still young enough to dream without limits. She would talk about becoming a teacher one day, even though there was no school nearby. And then there was the youngest, little Noah, just 8 years old. He brought life into the house. His laughter echoed in the empty spaces, reminding everyone that joy still existed. Life was hard for them. There was no steady income, no luxuries, and sometimes not even enough food. Winters were especially cruel, and the cold crept into their bones. Yet they endured, day after day. But Eva and Lily were not content. One evening, as the sky turned orange and the mountains stood silent, Lily spoke what had been in her heart for a long time. "I can't live like this anymore," she said, her voice trembling. "There has to be something more than this. We can't just keep surviving. We deserve to live." Eva stayed quiet for a moment. She understood Lily's pain. She felt it too. "What do you want to do?" Eva asked softly. "I want to go to the city, find work, earn money, change our lives." The idea felt both exciting and terrifying. Leaving meant uncertainty. Staying meant continuing the same struggle. That night, Eva couldn't sleep. She looked at her sleeping siblings, her mother resting after a long day, and her father's worn-out shoes by the door. She realized something important. If no one tried to change their situation, nothing would ever change. The next morning, Eva spoke to her parents. "I want to go to the city with Lily. We will find work. We will send money back. We can't let things stay like this forever." The mother's eyes filled with tears. The father remained silent for a long time. Finally, he nodded slowly. "If you go, go with courage. Life will not be easy there either, but if your intention is good, God will help you." A few days later, with very little money and many prayers, Eva and Lily left the mountains. The city was overwhelming, loud, crowded, and unforgiving. They struggled at first, finding work, a place to stay, and even food. Many days they felt like giving up, but they didn't. Eva found work as a house helper, and Lily started working in a small shop. The pay was little,
but it was more than they had ever had before. Slowly, things began to change. They sent money back home. It wasn't much, but it made a difference. Their family could buy more food. The children had warmer clothes. For the first time in years, the house felt a little less heavy with worry. Back in the mountains, the family waited patiently. The mother prayed every day for her daughter's safety. The father worked as always, but now there was a quiet hope in his heart. Months turned into years. Eva and Lily worked harder, saved money, and learned new skills. Lily, with her strong will, eventually managed to open a small stall of her own. Eva continued working, but became respected and trusted. One day, they returned home. The mountains were the same, the house was the same, but something had changed, the future. They brought with them not just money, but possibility. With their savings, they helped their family start a small business near the mountain path, a tea and food stall for travelers. It wasn't big, but it was theirs. The father no longer had to wander far for work. The mother still cooked, but now with pride. Rose and Grace began helping with the stall, learning and growing, and little Noah went to a nearby village school. For the first time, the family was not just surviving, they were living. And as the sun set behind the mountains, painting the sky with colors of hope, Eva stood quietly and smiled. Because sometimes the hardest journeys begin with a single decision to believe that life can be better.